Hello, welcome back to the Nook. I'm Daniel, and today I will be reviewing this book here, Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson, book five, of the Stormlight Archive, and the final book in the first arc. So basically, there's planned to be a second arc, which would be books 6 through 10. So the first arc is over. The first main part of the story is over, and I will be reviewing pretty much spoiler-free, maybe a hint of spoilers, this book. So before I get into it, let me just read you the synopsis, just to give you an idea of what this book's about. Dalinar Kholin challenged the evil god Odium to a contest of champions, with the future of Roshar on the line. The Knights Radiant have only 10 days to prepare, and the sudden ascension of the crafty and ruthless Taravangian to take Odium's place has thrown everything into disarray. Desperate fighting continues simultaneously worldwide. Adolin in Azir, Sigzil and Venli at the Shattered Plains, and Yasna in Thelena. The former assassin Szeth must cleanse his homeland of Shinovar from the dark influence of the Unmade. He is accompanied by Kaladin, who faces a new battle helping Szeth fight his own demons, and who must do the same for the insane herald of the Almighty, Ishar. At the same time, Shallan, Renarin, and R'hllane work to unravel the mystery behind the Unmade Ba-Ado Mishram, and her involvement in the enslavement of the Singer race and in the ancient Knights Radiant killing their spren. And Dalinar and Navani seek an edge against Odium's champion that can be found only in the spiritual realm, where memory and possibility combine in chaos. The fate of the entire Cosmere hangs in the balance. So this is a conclusion to the first arc, and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So a lot of the book, you spend a lot of time in the spiritual realm. It's kind of like Shadesmar, where it's very different than the physical realm. Honestly, you'd really have to get to read it to get a feel for what it's like. So Dalinar has this contest of champions against Odium. You found out in book 4 that Odium was destroyed, the original Odium race, and Taravangian, who is a traitor to Dalinar, became the new Odium. And what's interesting about this book is that the people that are dealing with this contest of champions, they don't know right away that Odium is Taravangian. So it becomes a huge surprise when they find out who Odium really is. And I won't spoil what happens in the contest because it's not what I was expecting. A lot of this book had some unexpected stuff. So yeah, once again, we see a lot of really good representation of mental health, with Kaladin having his struggles, and Kaladin helping Szeth, who has his struggles, and together they help Ishar, who's a herald, one of the godlike creatures. So this story is, it was such a good book. I would rate it as my favorite Stormlight book so far. It's the thing I always say. I liked book 4 better than book 3. I liked book 3 better than book 2. And I liked book 2 better than the first book. Each book just better than the last. And there's a heavy focus on Adolin and what he has to do. He kind of has to muster an army in Azir. And some stuff happens with Adolin that's pretty intense. I won't spoil it. But let's just say something happens that changes Adolin's life, but he's still able to fight through. And what you're seeing a lot of in Wind and Truth is a lot of the hope in hopeless situations. So it feels like, well, how are they going to beat Taravangian? Is Adolin going to protect Azir? How is he going to protect the Emperor? There's a young man who's an emperor, and you get to see Adolin's friendship with Yanagon, this emperor who, if you remember Edge Dancer with Lift, Lift met Yanagon before he was the emperor. Actually, Yanagon was a thief, and he got raised to emperor. I can't remember why. Anyway, so you get to see Adolin kind of learning a talking strategy with the emperor. You get to see more of Shallan. Shallan still dealing with her personas like Veil and Radiant. And honestly, it's just a really good book. You see more of Navani and Dalinar. Of course, they're married, and they go into the spiritual realm, what they're dealing with there. They kind of end up doing their own journey. And basically, Dalinar and Navani are trying to figure out what to do through visions. Dalinar, ever since book 1, Dalinar has been given visions from the Almighty, from God, and these visions are to help him unite the people of Elithkar. And so when he's in the spiritual realm, he's getting more of these visions, and Shallan is kind of doing her thing in the spiritual realm with Renarin, who's Dalinar's son, and R'hllane, who's a Parchman, one of the Parshendi, who was a part of Bridge 4. And so these figures are all in the spiritual realm, and it's interesting because there are parts where they're playing a part. So Dalinar is representing someone else in the spiritual realm, a well-known person, and Navani could be representing someone else, and they would see Shallan and Renarin, but not know they're Shallan and Renarin because they're different people. I mean, there's a lot of confusing lore, a lot of stuff that's happening. This is a very action-packed book. There's a lot of action and excitement. I would say it's quite action-packed. I loved the journey actually with Jeff and with Kaladin, where they're traveling together and they're trying to figure things out. They kind of have their own mission to save Ishar, who's one of the heralds, while this contest is happening. And the book, actually, I forgot to mention, the book is split. Every other Stormlight book is split into parts, say parts 1 through 5, whereas this book, there's 10 days until the contest, so this book is actually split into 10 days. So and each day it's very quickly done. Each day is very quickly over. It's only a few pages, it feels like. So this was a very fast-paced book. It was very well-paced. It had good action. It was very epic. And the Sanderlanche, without spoiling it, let me just say that the Sanderlanche is fantastic. There's some great moments, some great lines. The Contest of Champions didn't go the way I was expecting, but it's setting things up for Book 6. It's totally setting things up for what's to come in the later books and for what's going to happen to Roshar and to the people on this planet. And honestly, I can't say too much more without spoiling things, but this was a fantastic book. You got lots of great scenes with Kaladin, with Sheth, with Shallan, with Dalinar, with Navani. It was just an excellent book, and it left me with so much emotion when I was done. Like, there's a thing called a book hangover, and I get it a lot. It's where you finish a book, and it was so good that you're just left with all these feelings and you don't know what to do. So that's what I got. I think is a good thing. And so if this interests you, if you've already read the first 4 books and you're on the fence about book 5, I mean, I loved it. A lot of people online didn't seem to love it. But if you think you'll love it, give it a try. It's big. It's 1,300 pages. I think it's the biggest book I've ever read. I think it's bigger than War and Peace. And yet, it's so good. It's so fast-paced, and I loved it. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on Wind and Truth, pretty much spoiler-free. And if you think if you like this video, if you want to comment on it, leave a comment, like, subscribe. And remember, you're always welcome at the Nook. Bye.